You're creative, right? At least kinda. Why else would you have clicked on this video? So, you get what I'm saying. You understand the struggle. When you tell yourself, I want to create something, that'd be cool. So you think a little bit, but then question, where would I even start? So you throw it on the back burner for a bit, time goes by and you remember, man, why didn't I ever start making that thing? So you pull up YouTube and watch videos to help you find some inspiration, but you get a little sidetracked. By the time you snap back into reality, you realize you've unintentionally wasted 2 hours and 18 minutes and still have no spark to get this project started. So now you feel even worse about yourself and decide, well, if I've wasted this much time, what's another hour or two? So you get a drink, load up on some snacks, and sit right back down on your throne of procrastination. But right before you're about to fall asleep, you think of the greatest idea not even Christopher Nolan would have thought to create. You'll pick it back up in the morning, but you fall asleep, and by the time the morning rolls around, you've already forgotten your billion-dollar idea. So, to wash away your pain, you hop in the shower, and suddenly a new idea hits you under the constant stream of warm water. The best ones always do. You're ready to tackle the day, but for some reason, getting the motivation to actually start just seems so far away. You continue to procrastinate, and procrastinate, until finally, out of nowhere, you think to yourself, enough is enough. You pull out your tools and get yourself situated. You finally get in front of the drawing board and nothing. By looking at the upload frequency on my channel, you can probably come to the conclusion that I've dealt with this quite a bit in the past 7 years, but I finally found myself in a season of some of the highest levels of inspiration and creative motivation I've ever experienced. And through some self-reflection, I've narrowed down exactly how I've ended up here. Remember that word though, self-reflection. We'll come back to that. Make your success a necessity.
I said to myself at one point, okay, I'm gonna do it or die. That's it, I'll starve to death if necessary, but I'm gonna do it. I'm going to stick with this job. Don't give up. Do not give up. Sometimes things always look darkest just before the dawn.
There was a moment recently when this all clicked for me. I've always desired so badly in my heart to chase a career as a film director, but I never needed to be successful at it. I just wanted to be. But for me, the want wasn't ever strong enough to get me off my butt to actually do the thing. So I had to set my life up in a way that forced me to do the thing. I need to make this happen if I want to eat, if I want to have gas in the tank, if I want to make the mortgage payment. I told myself, this is a job you're going to do. Livelihood and creative brilliance are linked. There may be a creative genius in you somewhere who you've never met before. This is how it works. I set my goal to be a film director, so naturally I need to direct my first film. But in order for me to make my first film, I need to shoot a short film as proof of concept for the feature-length film and as proof that I can direct. But in order for me to shoot a short film, I need to have a script for a short film, which means I need to write a script. But as I focus on writing, I need to prepare myself as a director behind the camera. I now need to make content to grow myself as an artist and do it in a way that pushes me to grow myself as a director. For example, these shots, they don't need to look like this. But I need the practice of making cool frames because I'm gonna make my first film one day. Practice. We'll cover that in point 6. If you don't have a vision for where you'll end up, you won't know how to take the first step. Detox from distractions. In today's day and age, this thing can completely castrate your creativity. Trust me. I'm a victim of it myself. The endless mind-numbing scrolling and the algorithms geared to keeping you addicted leaves no room in the day for you to think and use the only creative weapon you have, your mind. You need to leave room for your brain to creatively run free, brainstorm, and think of new things beyond the two-dimensional world of your phone. Many of us don't give ourselves time to think now. We're consistently distracted, knowingly or unknowingly. We immediately pick up our phones during any downtime. We almost never just sit and think, what should I do? They say that the cure for boredom is curiosity, and it's true. We need time to think, to wrestle with our own thoughts, with our own instincts and creativity. Boredom is powerful. Boredom is a motivator. I wrote that a little over 2 years ago in my book, A Mission for Meaning. In the line, wrestle with your own thoughts, is very important. It goes back to what I was saying before about self-reflection. I wouldn't have been able to figure out this 6-step process for myself if I didn't give myself the time and space to reflect. I had to take the time to learn about my brain and emotions and the way they work. As cliche as it may sound, it all started when I was going to therapy. And through therapy, I awakened to a new way of seeing myself and the world around me. I highly encourage everyone to have this kind of dedicated space to work through the things that are holding you back, or even just to learn about yourself on a deeper level. And if you don't have someone to talk to, BetterHelp is an incredible resource for you. And because it's so fitting, they graciously agreed to sponsor this video. BetterHelp is a fully online therapy service, making access to therapy far more convenient for you. You simply fill out a questionnaire that matches you with a therapist in just a few days from their massive network of over 30,000 licensed therapists. But if you feel your therapist isn't a match, you can easily switch therapists at no extra charge. This could be the first step to help you understand more about who you are and the way your brain is wired. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/Gabriel for 10% off your first month of therapy. Through all this self-reflection, I figured out for myself how to free my mind to run wild and unleash the parts of my brain that I had unknowingly suppressed for so long. Force yourself to obsess. As a director, I need to watch and study movies, but sometimes I don't feel like watching a movie. But after I'm done watching the movie, I'm always so inspired to make my own. After figuring this out about myself, I decided to set aside reoccurring time to allow myself to get inspired by others doing the thing I want to do one day. For me, personally, it's so much easier to open up YouTube and with almost no brain power at all have the algorithm show me a video I'd be interested in watching. Compare that with finding a great film from a great director I know will inspire me as a filmmaker. It's still relatively simple, but one is a far easier barrier to entry than the other. So I created my own list of movies I haven't watched yet but should, which makes it easier for me to start watching something and removes the 40 minutes of scrolling on Netflix before actually deciding what to turn on. As a result, I could be continually inspired and mentally ready to create. But what about being practically ready? Keep the right doors closed. When I started spending time with my phone in a drawer most of the day, I got bored. And like I said in my book, boredom is a motivator. Because I finally started feeling bored for the first time in a long time, I realized I needed another outlet to put my unused energy towards. I pulled out a camera for photography again and finally started taking photos for fun like I used to when I was young. I had more time and energy to focus on my family and children. I started developing screenplay ideas. Parts of my soul that were dormant were finally awakened. And I made sure to keep it that way by keeping a camera out and accessible, by keeping a notebook and pen near me at all times. And like I mentioned before, by getting rid of the toys that distract. We hear all the time, fall in love with the process, not just the product. And while that's technically true, for someone lacking the motivation to start the process at all, this can seem a bit daunting. The product, whatever that is for you, is created by going through the process. But the process, what makes that? How do I even start the process? Practice. After following the previous 5 steps, I told myself, if I really want to start making films, I need to be putting in the practice on the small things. I need to be script writing, even if it's for a small 20-second Instagram reel. I need to be shooting and improving my cinematography. I need to be editing and coloring. I need to be developing new story ideas. Fall in love with the practice, and you'll love the process. These small practices make up the process and give you clarity on what the process even is. And from here is where the magic happens. Through the seemingly mundane, everyday tasks, we develop the skill and competence to create all the art that's floating around in our heads, waiting to meet the rest of humanity.